Hello, I'm Paul Ndiho. This week on the Africa Innovation and Technology channel, we'll hear from a 21-year-old Zimbabwean tech entrepreneur, Takunda Chingonzo. His conversation with President Barack Obama. Every week, we strive to bring you stories that inspire, empower, engage, and motivate young African innovators using new technology into action. The video used in this week's segment was obtained from the pool feed provided to international reporters. In a rare one-on-one interview with US President Barack Obama, Zimbabwean technology entrepreneur Takunda Chingonzo told Obama that the supposedly targeted sanctions against some political leaders in Zimbabwe were actually hurting ordinary people. Chingonzo said that technology entrepreneurs from Zimbabwe looking to partner with technology firms or get funding from US-based companies are often told that they cannot do business with them because of the sanctions. Here is part of that interaction with President Obama.
I believe that the private sector is stratified in itself. We have the existing, indigenous businesses in these countries that we are hoping to invest in. And this is where usually the funding comes through the partnerships and all that, and that is well and fine. But then underneath that, we have these young upcoming entrepreneurs, the innovators, those that come up with products and services that disrupt the industry. And this is the innovation that we want in Africa, to build products by Africans for Africans. But in most cases, and what we've seen over the past years, is that indeed this investment comes through, but it never cascades down to these younger entrepreneurs, the emerging businesses. And so the existing businesses then form a sort of ceiling which we cannot break through. Right. When it comes to investment, when we're talking about solving unemployment, I would believe that it's more realistic to assume and understand that the probability of 10 startups employing 10 people in a given time period, it's more realistic than one indigenous company employing 100 people. So what really has been, or rather has there been any consideration in these deals that have been structured, in the investments that you announced, to cater for the young entrepreneur who's trying to innovate to solve the problems in society?
Well, first of all, I think for the business leaders who are here, both African and US, it's hard being a startup everywhere.
That's true.
The part of what you're describing is typical of business around the world. Folks who are already in, they don't necessarily want to share. They don't want to be disrupted. If there's a good opportunity, they'd rather do it themselves. If they see a small, up-and-coming hotshot who might disrupt their business, they may initially try to block you, or they may try to buy you out, or and getting financing for a startup is always going to be difficult. You hear that from entrepreneurs here in the US as well. Sure. Having said that, what is absolutely true is that as we think about the billions of dollars that we're mobilizing, we want to make sure that small businesses, medium-sized businesses, women-owned businesses, that they have opportunity. And so my instructions to all of our agencies, and hopefully the work that we're doing with all of our partners, is how can we identify, target financing for the startup? How can we identify and link up US companies with small and medium-sized businesses and not just the large businesses? And I think you are absolutely right that by us trying to spread investment, not narrowly through one or two companies, but more broadly, that the opportunities for success in those countries are higher. And it also creates a healthy competition. And that's true also in terms of how we're designing, for example, our Feed the Future program, which is working with almost 2 million small farmers inside of Africa. When I was in Senegal, I met with a woman maybe in her 30s. She had a small plot of land initially. Through the Feed the Future program, she had been able to mechanize double her productivity. By doubling her productivity and through a smartphone getting better prices to the market, she was able to increase her profits. Then she bought a tractor. Then she doubled her productivity again. And suddenly what had started off as just a program to increase her income had become capital for a growing business where she was now hiring people in her area and doing some of the processing of the grain that she grew herself so that she could move up the value chain. There are entrepreneurs like that all across Africa. Sometimes the capital they need is not very large. Sometimes it's a fairly modest amount. And so what I want to do is to make sure that we are constantly looking out for opportunities to disperse this capital, not just narrowly, but broadly. And one of the things that I hope happens with U.S. companies is that they're constantly looking for opportunities to partner with young entrepreneurs, startups, and not just always going to the same well-established businesses. Now, there are going to be some large capital projects where you've got a good, solid, established company. Hopefully, they themselves have policies with respect to their suppliers that allow them to start encouraging and growing small businesses as well.
Exactly. And on that note, I'm glad that you acknowledge that, and I hope that even in these deals, in the investments that we're talking about, that one of the conditions be that those large organizations that are getting investment have policies that cascade downwards to people at the grassroots. You spoke about this lady who was using a smartphone to, it is one key issue that is really propelling business and development in Africa, the ability to leverage technology. Yep. And really, it is all about the Internet of Things, and that is why I'm personally working in liberating the Internet, to get more people connected. Now, there's this, this is the huge opportunity in Africa as well. Now, there's this troubling issue, rather, that has been brought to our attention. We have entities and organizations that have come up and that have said, we want to control the Internet. We want to see who gets what traffic and from whom. Right. And see, policies and activities like that become challenges for startups that are trying to leverage the Internet. For this lady, this farmer that you talked about, who's trying to leverage and get information from the Internet. So I wanted to understand, what is your stance on net neutrality and its effects in the growth and development in Africa?
Well, this is an important issue for all heads of state and government, not just in Africa, but around the world. The reason the Internet is so powerful is because it's open.
Yes.
My daughters, 16 and 13, they can access information from any place in the world. They can learn about a particular discipline instantaneously in ways that when I was their age, first of all, I wasn't as motivated as they are. I was lazier than that, but they do much better in school than I do. But they can, the world's at their fingertips. And what facilitates that, and what has facilitated the incredible value that's been built by companies like Google and Facebook and so many others, all the applications that you find on your smartphone, is that there are not restrictions, there are not barriers to entry for new companies who have a good idea to use this platform that is open to create value. And it is very important, I think, that we maintain that. Now, I know that there's a tension in some countries. Their attitude is, we don't necessarily want all this information flowing because it can end up also being used as a tool for political organizing. It can be used for, as a tool to criticize the government. And so maybe we'd prefer a system that is more closed. I think that is a self-defeating attitude. Over the long term, because of technology, information, knowledge, transparency is inevitable. And that's true here in the United States. It's true everywhere. And so what we should be doing is trying to maintain an open internet, trying to keep a process whereby any talented person who has an idea can suddenly use the internet to disperse information. There are going to be occasional tensions involved in terms of us monitoring the use of the internet for terrorist networks or criminal enterprises or human trafficking, but we can do that in ways that are compatible with maintaining an open internet.
That was US President Barack Obama speaking to African leaders at the just concluded Africa Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C. We will take a short break, but before we go, we want to know what you think about the Africa Innovation and Technology channel and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Twitter and Facebook. The address is Africa Innovations and Technology. You can also check us out at our website at www.africainnovations.net. Welcome back to the Africa Innovation and Technology channel, a show where we strive to bring you stories that inspire, empower, engage, and motivate young African innovators using new technology into action. Today we are talking about investing in innovation and technology in Africa. Ashish J. Thakur is arguably one of Africa's youngest billionaires. In less than 2 decades, the Ugandan-born maverick entrepreneur has accomplished what only few can attain in a lifetime. He turned a small computer trading operation into a pan-African conglomerate. Today, the 31-year-old is using his earned fortune and rockstar status to inspire young African entrepreneurs, changing and shaping Africa's image. Mr. Ashish Thakur was one of the few business leaders who spoke at the Africa Leaders Summit Business Forum in Washington, D.C.
So I took a loan of $5,000 and set up a little IT company in Uganda, and then slowly made it a Pan-African business. 18 years later, the Mara Group is in 22 countries. We have about 11,000 employees, and we're focused on manufacturing, technology, real estate, and financial services. The Mara Foundation, our nonprofit, is focused on youth empowerment and women empowerment. Today, I'm pleased to say that we empower over 250,000 businesses across Africa, and we are a partner in the Young Africa Leaders Initiative as well, which President Obama announced a few days ago. As a young African, and note how I emphasize young, as a young African, I'm extremely happy today. I think the US-Africa Summit is history in the making in the true sense. The United States entrepreneurial culture, the depth of entrepreneurship, the depth of capital in this country is unbelievable. And I'm a firm believer in, rather than reinventing the wheel, is the best combination of global and local. Global organizations partnering with local organizations like Mara and many others is the answer. A case in point is Atlas Mara, which my partner Bob Diamond and I set up a few months ago to buy banks in Africa. We raised $1 billion within 6-7 months, and majority of our capital came from the US, and majority of that capital had never invested in Africa before. So the appetite is absolutely there. I think we need to change the narrative. People are talking about bringing Silicon Valley to Africa. I'm a believer that rather than trying to bring Silicon Valley to Africa, let's bring Africa to Silicon Valley. I think it's time we as Africa become innovative, create solutions that we can take global rather than trying to reinvent what's already been done.
Mr. Thakur is also the founder of Mara Launchpad, a business hub in Uganda where business ideas from young entrepreneurs are nurtured. Students at the center receive support through mentorship programs and are taught leadership and management skills by professionals from the corporate world. Those with viable business ideas are funded and also get affordable office space for their startups. Founded in 2010, Mara Launchpad office in Uganda is a highly creative space where young entrepreneurs meet to share and develop ideas. Mara is a business incubator and support center that provides young innovators with the infrastructure for business growth, and where budding entrepreneurs can see their concepts take off. The mentorship program lasts 6 months, and burgeoning entrepreneurs do not pay back the cash, but the fund shares all profits and losses for a set period of time. Mr. Ashish Thakur's business empire is today worth over $100 million, but he says that he faced a lot of challenges when he started out as a young entrepreneur.
The whole idea is that you're from guiding and advising these young entrepreneurs to providing them a space to work from and credibility, visibility, to also then actually giving them the funding for it. We've created the foundation on a basis of offline activities, but we've also created it on online activities. So we've got online mentorship, which enables entrepreneurs to have mentors from around the world, not necessarily from within the country.
Mara provides professional yet affordable office space within the city center at a cost of $110 per month to use as their startup headquarters. They also get free internet access, filing cabinets, and meeting rooms. Filmmaker Isaac Oboth started his own company, Media 256, more than 5 years ago, and employs more than 5 people. Although he raised his own capital, he says he has benefited enormously from the mentorship programs and the subsidized office space.
The Mara Foundation provided me a place to set up an enterprise at absolutely minimum costs. It took my business from being just a briefcase company to something that was actually more solid, more concrete, because I had a premises, I had an address. I could bring clients in for editing sessions. I was able to increase my turnaround time.
Andrew Mukwaya is also a graduate of Mara. He started his paper bag making venture in 2008, and he has over 16 employees. The bags he makes are used in shops, by chemists and supermarkets. The 24-year-old says his business is ranking in about $3,500 every month.
Mara Foundation has helped me to improve on my market, the way I handle my clients, the way I handle my product development. For example, before I was using some poor quality stuffs, then when I learned about I used to provide questionnaires to clients, and then they were interested in better type of paper.
So far, close to 200 entrepreneurs have benefited from Mara Launchpad in Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. Recently, I had an opportunity to engage Mr. Ashish Thakur on the future of innovation and technology in Africa. Tell me briefly a little bit about your vision for young Africans.
I think it's our opportunity, the fact that we are majority of the population in our continent. I think we are the future. We're not yesterday's leaders, we're today's leaders. So I think it's a matter of going about it in a very practical way. We need to enable, empower, and inspire ourselves. We need to kind of get the right public policies in place, the right training programs in place. But the young entrepreneurs are the future of our continent.
Obviously, talking about young entrepreneurs, you are one of the few people in Africa who's trying to change that image. You're empowering young people. Maybe tell me a little bit about how you started and what really motivated you to empower the next generation of African leaders.
So I'm a fourth generation African. My family moved to East Africa in 1890. We went through the 1972 Idi Amin saga. We went through the 1994 Rwanda genocide. And we're still on the continent, still patriotic and passionate about it. I think it's a responsibility that we have as fellow citizens to actually make that difference, to truly make a difference and do something meaningful. And that's what motivates me. That's what makes Mara does what it does, because we're an African group, we're an African family, we're an African foundation.
Every time I move around the continent, I see a lot of young people into innovation and technology. What would you say is the driving force behind that?
I think the fact that we have the ability to truly leapfrog. like in the true sense. The fact that we don't have legacy systems gives us the ability to really jumpstart so many different things.
What do you think young people need really to get off the ground? Instead of looking for jobs, maybe start creating their own jobs. What do you think?
I think creating their own jobs is important, but even when looking for jobs, it's a matter of looking for them in a, we've got to be very hardworking, we've got to be long-term, we've got to be very honest, very ethical, and I think being very, very straightforward is crucial.
Mara Investments has had some kind of success when it comes to really looking out for the next generation of young entrepreneurs. What would you say? How would you maybe describe your success? What does your success mean to you? What kind of responsibility does that bring to Mara Investment?
I mean, the Mara Foundation is an independent organization. It's a non-profit social enterprise purely focused on enabling, empowering, and inspiring young entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurs. The Mara Group is an investment group across Africa, which is in 22 countries, and we have over 11,000 people in the group.
How many people have gone through your
The mentorship. So there are two different things. Investment, we create our own businesses, but through the foundation we have over 200,000 entrepreneurs.
What message would you give to young people who are looking up to you?
We are the future. We have a big responsibility. We need to work hard. We need to be passionate. We need to be honest. And as my spiritual leader, Moré Bapu, says, the core principles of truth, love, and compassion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, on that note, do you think you have a better idea, or you have created something that everyone is talking about, and you'd like to be featured on this show? Please send us your video clips and tell us which country you're from and how your innovation is impacting your community. That's our show today. Be sure to watch the Africa Innovation and Technology channel online every weekend and on our website at www.africainnovations.net. Thanks for watching.